Hey guys, just caught Candy sitting here in my chair. It was kind of cute, so I figured we'd start out with her. She's a lot cuter than I am. So anyway, yeah, I guess most of you already know this, but Big Brother come over last night, and we recorded Pink Floyd. I just watched it, well, to be honest, watched it sober this morning, and laughable. But just the same, keep in mind, we don't get to play very often. We just kind of, every now and again we'll get together and, pick up a couple guitars, but it's not something that we get to do as often as we'd like. It's amazing how she's just sitting there, just could give a shit less. I don't care, keep a camera on me. I'm old. I'm going to go back to sleep. Fuck you. That's my baby. Candy. Bless your little heart. Oh, Daddy woke her up, didn't he? Oh, Daddy's sorry. Oh, Daddy's so sorry. So, in any event, we're hanging out in the kitchen now. I'm looking out my kitchen window. They're talking like an 80% chance of rain today, but I don't see it. I mean, it's sunny, and I've already looked at the radar, and working in the trades and working outdoors, you kind of become like an amateur meteorologist, so to speak. And if you live down here in the South, well, everybody thinks they're a hurricane expert, so they're supposed to have a couple of waves, tropical waves. They're coming off Africa, but two troughs in the tropical part of the Atlantic are going to, I don't know, keep something from happening, and therefore these storms might move further west than north, and then there'll be a problem for us if they get into the Gulf, because the Gulf is warm and so on and so forth. So there's a lot involved with hurricanes, but everybody down here is an expert. You go to a store or a gas station or something, and you talk to people, and oh, well, this, that, and the other. I'm sure of it. Well, Katrina wasn't supposed to be much of nothing. And I was actually, the house that I lived in, and for those of you that have my Facebook, you can go on there, and I've got a picture of what was left of my house. But I was actually going to stay, and thankfully one of my buddies down here, Tony, he called me, and he said, "What you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm sitting around the house, He said, "What the?" This was like, I guess, the day before Katrina. Maybe not even, I don't even think it was 24 hours from landfall. And, I said, "I'm just sitting around," He said, "What the, get the fuck out of there. Are you crazy?" And I said, "Well, I guess, because that was my first hurricane, I didn't know anything." And, so, I flipped on the Weather Channel, and lo and behold, I saw a freaking storm that literally filled up the entire Gulf. I'm like, oh my God, well, gee, that does kind of look bad, So, I was lucky enough that I got to stay, because my buddy's stepmama was the daughter, or one of the daughters, of the former mayor of Gulfport, where I live. And she said, well, we can all go stay there. We do this when there's hurricanes. And, okay, I figured, well, go there for a day or whatever and come back to the house. Didn't know it was going to be totally wiped out, right? So, and I'm not sure why I'm going on about this Katrina story. I got to talking about the weather and shit, and that's, fuck it, need to kill time, right? So, I'm thinking, well, okay, if this guy used to be a mayor, then I'm going to walk in there, long hair, tattoos and shit. This ought to be good, So, I walked into the man's house at, it was like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning on the 28th of August of '05. And I walked into the man's house in the morning, and there he sits in a chair with a drink, and he said, I'll never forget the first thing that the former mayor ever said to me was, "Hell, son, fix you a drink, have a seat." And I'm not a daytime kind of drinker, but what am I going to tell the man? Well, I was worried about him, looking down on me for long hair, tattoos, and drinking. The man's got a stocked bar in the house, and it was a good thing because it was a long few weeks, and the liquor supply went quickly because we had like 20 people in the house, and let's just say we all had a good time, made the best of it. So, that whole experience, it turns out he's like just the coolest, most laid-back guy you'd ever want to meet, I mean, yeah, he was a public official and stuff, but I mean just the coolest guy you'd ever want to meet. So, yeah, long story short, the day after, we all went back down to where the house was, and there was just nothing there, absolutely nothing. Just for miles and miles. And I mean, I know y'all have probably seen footage on TV, but to actually be there, I mean, it's night and day, because I see footage of other hurricanes or earthquakes and just shit that's totally wiped out, like the tsunami. And it looks bad on TV, but I know what it looks like in person, and it's bad, just bad. Now, Katrina was exceptional, mind you, because it was as bad as it was, but I mean, literally neighbors laying dead in the street, and just, I mean, I saw shit that next day that I didn't, I hope I don't never see again, but, living where I live, it's always a possibility, but it was horrible, and just some of the stories that I've heard from people of, people having to cut their way out of the attic, and man, that's some bad shit, I was fortunate enough that my friend told me to get the hell out, and I listened. A lot of people either weren't so lucky or they were just too stubborn and didn't leave, so. But anyway, yeah, I guess that's enough about that. I guess the way it all worked out was, after about 3 weeks at the mayor's house, I moved in with Big Brother and his family, and we redid his house for, 6 months, something like that. Then my house next door to this one came open, and I moved in there, and then I moved into here, right next door. So if you got to move, try to move right next door, because it's real easy. You just hand shit over the fence, and you're there. So, anyways, I guess that's it for today. I got a few things to do today. I got to get a bid together for the guy I'm working for, and try to get him to take it at a price. I mean, he's pretty cheap, as I've told you. But he's wanting to get another house painted, and hopefully he'll bite. I mean, I'm going to cut him a good deal, but I mean, I don't want to rip myself off either. So, but I think I finally got him to wrap his head around the idea that, if you fix your places up a little bit, you're going to draw a nicer group of tenants. And henceforth, you're going to get tenants that are more likely to pay the rent. So, but anyway, I was going to give a couple of shout outs, but I keep forgetting who the hell they're for, so I'll probably do them tomorrow. I'll write them down so that I know for sure, but I haven't forgotten you guys. So anyway, I guess that's it for now, and I'll catch y'all tomorrow, or maybe later on this evening. I don't know. Big Brother might come over. We might monkey around a little more or something, and we'll just try to do it a little earlier in the evening. So anyways, y'all have a good one. Bye.
Just thought that I had to be in Compton soon. I gotta get drunk before the day begins, before my mother starts bitching about my friends. About to go and damn near went blind. Young niggas on the path throwing up gang signs. I went in the house to get the clip with my Mac 10 on the side of my head. I bailed outside and I pointed my weapon